If you guys are watching this video, it's more than likely, actually, it's probably 100% likely that you guys have seen the uprise in things like social media, streaming platforms, and basically the digital new era of basically everything. Me personally, I am somebody who has first-hand experience with the digitalization of literally everything, and I am also somebody with first-hand experience of a dwindling attention span, okay? And I know there's a ton of you guys out there, alright? I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with a little app called TikTok. Now, it's basically an ongoing joke at this point that TikTok users have actual brain rot and that they have terrible attention spans. Now, look, I've been using TikTok basically since its conception in like 2019. And just real quick, this is by no means an anti-TikTok video, okay? I actually do really like the platform, but I did notice recently that it was taking a really, really bad toll on my mental health, like straight up, and my attention span as well. So, I did the obvious thing and I kind of laid off the app for a little bit and I didn't really look at it and I just kind of focused on my personal life. If I wanted to do anything that was fun in my free time, I would actually just play some video games rather than going on my phone and scrolling on TikTok. I feel like playing video games at least has a lot more, brain activity going on rather than scrolling on TikTok. That's something we're going to get into later in the video though. But yeah, during that little break, I had the question, dude, what happened to our attention spans? At least me personally, what happened to my attention span and my dopamine receptors? Like, what did TikTok do to my dopamine receptors? And I realized that honestly, it's probably a combination of everything I've grew up with in my childhood, with social media, streaming platforms all over the place. Let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with our first talking point, and that's what I'm going to call scroll culture. Okay, so scroll culture. Basically, what I am referring to here is, when you're scrolling on your phone and you're looking at any sort of media, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, we all know that scrolling formula. And I feel like most of us do know it's a trap. I mean, we know that it's, meant to cater towards us and it's meant to be infinite and we're, supposed to be glued to our screens for hours and hours. And that's basically how it's designed. Like, we've all heard it before. And in recent time, a lot of people like to point fingers at TikTok for kind of revolutionizing and popularizing this scrolling formula, which I mean they did, but the scrolling formula is not new by any means. I mean, if you look back and date back all the way to the very first forum on the internet, it was scroll culture, right? Like, you had internet forums where you could read, and that kind of evolved into what we got into with TikTok today. I mean, but like back in the day, you had like Facebook. Me personally, growing up in the 2010s, it was like Instagram. Now, me personally, for the longest time, I could honestly handle, the scroll formula. Like, I don't really feel like it affected my mental health in any way. And that is until TikTok got introduced, bro. This is because TikTok actually revolutionized the scrolling formula with implementing like videos. And now you're at the point on TikTok where you can watch like 10-minute videos. The problem is that subconsciously that you have access to infinite content, and when you come across these videos that are like 10 minutes long, you don't actually watch them all the way through, bro. Like, let's be so real right now. Like, you watch like the first 15 seconds, maybe if it's something super interesting, you watch like 2 minutes of it and then you skip to the end, right? Like, you don't pay attention to an actual thing. And why is this a big deal? Well, this is why the video is titled The Attention Span Crisis. Let me go ahead and share a story with you guys. So I'm sitting in my lecture hall, right? And I'm obviously in class, in college, whatever, right? And I'm paying attention in class, and I notice the dude in front of me is scrolling on his phone, like whatever. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But I notice on his phone he's on YouTube, right? Once again, nothing wrong with that. But I'm sure most of you guys know how when you're scrolling on YouTube and you're looking at actual YouTube videos, it'll like play like the first little bit of the video if you like look at the thumbnail long enough, right? And he's like scrolling on his homepage on YouTube, like just letting the thumbnails in like the first like 10 seconds of like these 20-minute videos play out. And I mean, whatever, like, you could do whatever. I just noted that and I was like, are we cooked as a society? Because he at this point, he's not even consuming the content, right? Like, he can't hear the videos, he can't really, understand what the video is about. He's literally just watching the first 15 seconds of footage and scrolling for the stimulation purely. He's not even consuming the content. Like that was a little alarming to me, because this is like a 20-year-old kid sitting in a lecture hall in college. I mean, whatever. At the end of the day, anybody can do what they want. But I saw that and I was like, dude, I think we're cooked. I'm not gonna lie. Now, I want to go ahead and tie this in to our next talking point, which is the abundance of content. All right, I kind of touched on it briefly. Let's go ahead and get into it more. On every single social media platform right now, and just on the internet in general, you have access to infinite information, infinite opinions, and overall just infinite content, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, that's what makes the internet great, and it makes it so resourceful, right? Like, that's what makes it good. But it also makes it bad, especially, for certain people. Because of the abundance of content, our brain subconsciously tells us that, we have to be searching for the perfect piece of content that, is relatable to us or whatever. And this inevitably leads to a kind of like a mouse wheel, right? Like it never ends. You can't really commit, to one piece of content because subconsciously that you could possibly find content that is more stimulating for your brain. Like this is just how the human brain works, basically, right? And this isn't the case with just social media. Like I brought up streaming platforms earlier in the video. Let me use streaming platforms as an example. I'm sure many of you guys have been trying to watch a show on Netflix or something, and you get into it, you watch a couple episodes, and then you eventually just move on. I know a lot of you guys have struggled with that, right? And that's because you know that there's an abundance of shows on Netflix and you feel like you should watch them all, right? Like you feel like you have to watch every single thing that looks good. But obviously, like 95% of people can't watch every single good show on Netflix or good movie or whatever. And, for a lot of people, this kind of leads to like a mental implosion with, their logical thinking and everything when it comes to like consuming media. And it kind of, once again, like it's like a mouse wheel, right? Like that's the best way to put it. It's a mouse wheel. It's like a never-ending cycle. So where am I going with this? A lot of you guys are probably sitting there right now saying, I'm fine. My attention span's good. It's other people's problem. It's not mine. Let me show you why this is concerning. It's no secret that things like social media and streaming platforms have been super, super profitable in this day and age. And we're kind of moving into an era where every single entertainment company ever is trying to, resort to streaming platforms or scroll culture or whatever it is. They are trying to essentially cater to this negative attention span, and they are trying to profit as much as they possibly can, right? This is how businesses work. And the concerning thing about that is businesses copy each other. We're getting to a point with entertainment and just pop culture in general where these corporations behind it are no longer really concerned with, making a good product. And we're going to start seeing the rise of really concerning aspects, especially with art and like film and everything like that. And it's getting to a point where it's like, what's the tipping point for the consumer where they're tired of being spoon-fed this just garbage content, like just straight up garbage content that just stimulates their brain. They don't even get anything from consuming it. Like, what is the tipping point for the consumer, like the average consumer base? And that's a really tricky question to answer, in all honesty, because at the end of the day, it's really one person's individual choice to step away from, something like that. Like me, like for example, me stepping away from, doing TikTok or whatever, just because it was taking a negative impact on my mental health. Like you can't really gauge that, I feel like, because it's an individual's decision. But yeah, man, it's a really interesting like concept that I want to dive even deeper into. Like this is basically just all my thoughts on it, and I know a lot of you guys probably relate to everything I'm saying. Once again, because we're all probably in the same group of generations, I guess, that witnessed the rise of digitalization. And I do think that in 2024, it's becoming more apparent that it is taking a toll on a lot of people's mental health, right? Also, as the title of this video kind of hints at, I'm gonna, help you guys navigate. I'm gonna give you guys a quick little survival guide to, kind of maintain your attention span and have a healthy relationship with media and social media, because it's not all bad. These are things that I've applied, that I've noticed like have just made my experience with social media and media a lot better. So let's go ahead and get into that. First things first, you gotta stop over consuming, man. If you guys aren't having a good experience with any sort of media or social media, don't jump to another thing to kind of fill that void, bro. You guys got to stop over consuming. Consume content and consume media as a reward for yourself, whatever, right? Like if you just got done doing schoolwork, or you just got done with a big shift at work and you want to unwind by watching some TV, playing some video games like that, that's cool. But just try to limit the overconsumption because everything in moderation is super, super important. Next, and probably the biggest piece of advice I can give is to consume content with purpose, man. Like, stop flocking to whatever is popular and start going to, things that you personally have interest in and you personally have value with, or you personally could possibly gain value with. Maybe you're going to watch a video that's going to teach you something, or maybe you're going to watch an insightful documentary. Like, whatever the case is, make sure that you have like purpose behind what type of content you want to consume. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but I'm telling you guys, you will actually start to fill a void in your mental health because you're actually gaining something from consuming content. You're learning something, you're having a new experience, and it feels more genuine to you. And I feel like for a lot of people, that was originally where a lot of the magic was with social media and streaming platforms, but it really quickly turned into how much can I consume uh, before I can't take it anymore. Like that's basically what our brains subconsciously tell ourselves when we go on that mouse wheel once again. Last but not least, if you guys are struggling with a dwindling attention span, stay away from scroll culture, okay? Just stay away from anything that has to do with scrolling, at least for a couple days. I'm not saying that you have to quit it completely for the rest of your life, but for me personally, I noticed that it was taking a really, really bad impact or toll on my mental health, and I stepped away from it for a couple days. And whenever I wanted to do something in my free time to kind of stimulate my brain, bro, I'd just play like video games, for example. Like, video games can be bad, whatever, but like I feel like when you're playing video games you have a lot more brain activity going on than when you're scrolling on TikTok. So it's just little things like that, man. I'm telling you, just try to find other outlets of media because like 80% of the time I feel like when people have negative mental health due to social media and everything, it's due to purely scroll culture, and it's just because it's frying your dopamine. Like it's straight up cooking your dopamine, dude. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video and you want to see more videos like this, make sure to drop a like and a subscribe. I got videos coming out weekly. Once again, I've been kind of lacking on uploads recently just because finishing out the semester, but when summer kicks off, I'm going to be grinding the videos. So if you guys do want to be here to watch more insightful content and watch more video essays, and I do post a lot of video game content, make sure to drop a like and a subscribe. It would be really, really appreciated, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Peace.